What's going on, Luca Nation? We got a little weekend edition of Luca's Tigers and Bronze for you guys and gals out there in the audience. We want to wish you an amazing weekend. It's Father's Day weekend. So kids listening, make sure to give your parents a call, give your dad a call, buy them some cards, tell them you love them. Ian, if you're out there listening, please do the same. I'm going to turn it over to Cage. I have a segment, I have an episode prepared, a few topics, but I want to hear from the big man because he's having an amazing day. He's playing with the kids in the pool, kids from the neighborhood came over, and I feel like he's very cerebral. He even, he's spreading some positivity. So,
oh, you like that? My little message? You like my little message? I'm channeling my inner Andrew today.
You took, I like it. You took the high road in a lot of ways with that message. I saw what you did there.
Yeah. Listen, I'm learning from you, man. Normally, I'm a scorched earth type of person. I can't even talk today. I gotta stop drinking. So,
oh, this is gonna be fun. What'd you have?
I don't know, just a bunch of soda. With stuff in it.
That's not what drinking is.
Oh yeah, but I put stuff in the soda. I got like a full bar over here, dude. It's some good stuff. Let me tell you, I got like a whole thing, like all here.
Whiskey and Coke is like your go-to.
You see this little whole? I got like a whole bar. I go to. I got all kinds of stuff. Nah, listen, it depends. It depends what you're in the mood for. If I'm just drinking straight stuff, no mixers, no fun, I'll do a little tequila. Just straight. I'll do a little. Depends. I mix it up. I try not to mix too many in one sitting. But I'm normally just throw some ice in a cup, and I'll just drink straight liquor. Like I'll drink vodka straight with some olives. I'll drink bourbon straight, just on the rocks. I'll drink tequila on a lot of it. If I'm trying to make the evening last a little bit when it's tequila, try this. Instead of doing the salt and the lime as your training wheels, cinnamon and orange slices with good tequila. Trust me. I learned this at a tequila tasting on vacation at one point in time. They were fancy tequilas and stuff, and they put out a thing with salt and lime, which is what people normally do, and they put out a plate with cinnamon and orange. And literally everybody there was like, all right, we're never doing lime and salt ever again. Have I taken this episode a little too far? Anyway, I'm normally a scorched earth.
You haven't taken it far enough.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. So I'm normally scorched earth, but yes, today is a positivity kind of thing. And my message, I'll get it out there for more than people just in that OG group, the group that you and I met in. It's, it's easy to be positive and have each other's back in the whole deal when everything's going great, right? But when the shit hits the fan, so to speak, you kind of find out who's there, who's really there, and who's not, right? And our job is multifaceted here for you guys. It's to make sure that, like everything in the world, this hobby is no different. It will have ups and downs, right? Andrew's going to keep the positivity coming. You're going to see more scams, more issues, more calling out. And then even the things that in an up market would be thought of as like coincidental or just an issue. Take that Michael Jordan sale that, by the way, you guys, you're lucky because you get to listen to this podcast. And I told you right after that auction that I bid over $200,000 on that. So you guys, hopefully, when you see some of the baloney that gets posted, like, PWCC, they just didn't get enough money for their auction. There was no issues with eBay. eBay and PWCC in cahoots. And like, that, there are legitimately people out there who tried to bid more and couldn't because you heard it from me, right? And I'll show you the screenshots if you want. I took them out. I'll show you the error message that I got. So, but it's funny because even something like that would be innocuous, even something like that would just be fine and probably glossed over more when the hobby is going good. When we're in the doldrums, when people are losing money, when it's harder to be a genius and a moneymaker in this, people are in attack mode. People are all on, this is a problem. So we're here to tell you that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We don't know how long the tunnel is, but it's a fun tunnel ride here with us, right? You get to hang out. We give you the positivity, and hopefully we can give you some avenues to try to, stay afloat, make a little money, have some fun with this while we might be in a little bit of a downturn or a little bit of flat times. What do you got? Yeah, I heard you trying to get in there.
So we know that I love that. First, I love that, but I'm going to go with an observation, and I want to discuss it live here on there. So we know that the basketball, the NBA drives the market, right? In a lot of ways, especially for modern cards.
Yeah, for the last 2 years, we'll see what happens going forward. But yes, 100%.
We also know that when you invest in cards, it's not just about player performance. It's player performance mixed in with expectation, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Is that fair to say? Because it's not
Yes.
just someone performing well; it's what the market expects and if they're able to overperform.
It's what
I
have
was
you done for
looking
me
back.
lately, and what are you going to do? Exactly.
I was looking at this last NBA season, and if you kind of think about it, other than Jokic, has anyone exceeded your expectations? And let me contextualize it. If you look at the boom that we had last year, we had Zion, Ja, Luca, Trey. These guys were exceeding expectations. Giannis, we were having the storyline: can he go back to back and even improve on the MVP season? If we just go back a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, and into the bubble, Michael Porter Jr. exceeded expectations. Tyler Hero exceeded expectations. We had this cream of the crop of young guys who exceeded expectations. In my opinion, if you guys look back at this NBA season, it was really dominated by veterans and injuries. Those were the two main storylines. There weren't very many young guys who exceeded expectations. LaMelo came in, and for a short time he did. Then he got injured. Edwards, though we wanted him to be something, he wasn't. And outside of that, you can't really look at a player or a team that exceeded expectations. And I'm going to keep saying that. And the reason I do is because you guys know, and Cage knows this, when he was investing in stocks and earnings, it wasn't just a company that was profitable. It was a company that beat the earnings expectations.
Correct.
And I think that this year, a little bit of the down market, specifically if we're talking about NBA, was that in fact. And you could even bring that to baseball. Think about last year. Tatis, he exceeded expectations. This year he's coming in, he was like going to be an MVP. But last year his cards were nothing and people didn't even know about him. Right?
And you could argue that he's having a better statistical run now than he was then. I mean, he's like, 50-50, 40-40 pace, he's doing great. And the card prices are down 100% because the expectations change. I'll let you finish your point, but I love it because
it's exactly where I'm going. Expectations change. And I think what we're going to see next NBA season is a changing of the tide of sorts.
Okay.
I think we're going to see a lot of guys that were kind of shrugged under the rug or not given really too much opportunity just because of this season, how it was structured. There wasn't a ton of time for practice. There wasn't a ton of player development. So you see guys like IQ quickly on the Knicks, Wiseman, Edwards, LaMelo, Karl Anthony Towns. You could go down the list of these guys, Marvin Bagley. I think that next season we're going to see a changing of the tide where you're going to look at those guys and be like, our futures in the NBA is in good hands with these younger guys, and people are going to start investing in them more. Maybe. I think we just didn't see it this season because of a variety of factors that I just mentioned.
Well, I mean, listen, a lot of it also had to do with just the continuous influx of population of a lot of the cards that people were investing in when it came to modern basketball. So it didn't make a difference, and baseball as well. It didn't make a difference what these guys were doing because the supply number kept jumping. Every one of these guys, Michael Porter Jr., Tyler Hero, Luca, Zion, Ja, Tatis, Vlad Guerrero, Bichette, all these guys. Doesn't matter what they did because
that was a combination.
If they stayed flat, the pop was going up. Even if they did better, their better wasn't keeping up with the pop unless it was Vlad that came out of nowhere. But can I
or Jokic?
Jokic is a different animal, right? But can I throw this one out there for you? What I've noticed is people are so crypto-fied. Can I use that as a word? I know everybody loves my cardboard relevance, and I got to get back to doing that, guys. My apologies, but everyone is so crypto-fied that I don't even think I will buy into your next season if expectations will change. Sure, maybe there'll be different expectations going into the season, but expectations change like the 24-hour crypto trading cycle now. The people who are in cards, the new people to cards, to investing, they're in this week to week. And let me give you an example, right? Coming to the season, everybody thought the Hawks were going to be good. Trey was going to be great. You name it, we're going to have all on Trey. Trey started off, I mean, he was fine, but he wasn't spectacular. The team didn't look so great, and everybody dumped Trey. And then Trey's team started doing better, and it was like, all right, the expectations were a little lower. Maybe you get on him again. Ja Morant, same thing, gets injured, right? The expectations were high, his cards go down. Then you're heading towards the end of the season, and it's like, he sucks. Whoa, they just made their way into the play-in. He had 40-something points. Boom, let's buy Ja Morant cards. Oh, shit, he got knocked out in the playoffs. Boom, sell your Morant cards again. Michael Porter Jr., he's had a great bubble. coming into the season, he's high. All of a sudden, he disappears. Michael Porter ghost. Then all of a sudden, Murray gets hurt. He's Michael Porter Jesus again. Then he forgets how to play defense again. I mean, it's an up, it's a down, it's an up and a down. It's crazy. And you see that so much more. The cycles are just so nuts now with this that, I mean, think about it. I'll give you one that you didn't name today. You've named him 3 times, and I'm going to take 30 seconds here to give you credit, right? Because I can't always be a prognosticator. You have some really good calls. Before anybody else said it, Terrence Mann, you've said it now like 3 times. By Terrence Mann, you like him, you think he's awesome. I've mentioned that Ian and I have an autograph. I mentioned to Ian we should go get it and sell it. He says it's only a 9. Ian, right? But you've been on Terrence Mann. You say he plays good defense. And look, guess what, guys? Today is too late to buy Terrence Mann. Don't buy Terrence Mann today.
Do not buy Terrence Mann today.
It's
but
too
I'll
late.
Give you, it's too late for this hype. I think there'll be an opportunity to buy in the offseason. I like his game. I like Terrence Mann's game.
He's got a great game. But I mean, you got to make sure you realize you're buying in after he had his season high game. Everyone knows who he is now. Everybody is bloating his prices, and he did that with no Kawhi. Right? So
I think we're going to see Terrence Mann like performances, guys that come from nowhere and have huge numbers next year. And that's why my play today is Tyrese Maxey. I think Tyrese Maxey is going to be the future point guard for the Sixers. I don't see how – I respect Daryl Morey. He's built good teams. So I'm giving Daryl Morey the benefit of the doubt here, and this plays a little bit on that as well. But I just don't see how the Sixers team is going to build around Ben Simmons when you have Tyrese Maxey, who is the point guard of the future for them, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I see him, a Tyrese Maxey type of player, like a Trae Young, a Luka, a shooting, scoring point guard that could also play make.
Plays much better defense than the guys you named. Yeah, as a youngster, he's a good defender.
But do you remember, like, there used to be an era of true point guards, like a Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, those type of pass for John Stockton, those type of pass first point guard. Then there's a few guys, that came that weren't like Steve Francis would have worked so well in today's NBA. But today's NBA is when you have a point guard that scores. You need a scoring point guard. And I think Tyrese Maxey has a tremendous amount of potential. And I'm looking at his Prism base card, which isn't my play, so don't jump down my throat, guys. For $6, $7, $20 to $20, depending on the condition, the centering. But his gold card, his Prism Gold, sold for $1,000.
Wow!
And that would be my play. I would color up. I would buy a parallel, a blue, a red. If you could afford a gold, $1,000 isn't the most expensive. That would be my play for today. Tyrese Maxey in a low or at least a SP parallel, a silver or a base. And you have 2 things going for you. Not only if Tyrese Maxey exceeds expectations, like we've talked about for the first 10 minutes of today's episode, he's also not going to have that insane pop that Luka does, that Trae does. You talked about the bell curve, how this class, I mean, I don't even know if there's more than 25 PSA 10s of Tyrese Maxey graded.
Right now, no. But we'll see what happens when they open it up. I got a few of his Prism cards, base cards, just sitting in the basement saying, what am I going to do with these things? And we'll see. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Also, people aren't opening as much. When I remember buying retail boxes, like of the 18-19, Luka Trae year for $100 it shows. Retail box. Pull a Luka, send it in, get a 10. I mean, that you can't do that now. The boxes are 4 figures for a basketball Prism. Not everybody's cracking a million boxes of this stuff. It's just not the way it is. So this is going to be a historic episode because I don't think we've ever had a bigger spread between our picks from modern to not modern. And yet, why I love it, why I think it's fantastic is because even though I am going to go with a blue chip GOAT as opposed to your prospect, my play might actually be less money, which is, that's why this is historic. So let me ask you now,
wow.
before we get to my play, you're a health nut, right? So I'm trying to be healthy. We talked to our Luka Fit family today, right? You're very exercise, full mind and body, spiritual, do a little yoga, yogi, whatever it's called, right? And then do, hey, get your mind right, get your body right, all that fun stuff. Me, I'm like, what flavor wings are we having tonight? So how about this? What's the difference between butter and margarine? Do you know the answer to that?
Margarine just always grossed me out.
So it's funny. As a kid growing up in the 80s, margarine was huge. So it's basically a butter substitute, right? It's a
No dairy?
It's no dairy. It's made of vegetable oil, right? So it's heavily processed, right? But at the time, everybody was all about margarine. Like I remember in my fridge, I had margarine and I had butter, and it was
I
like
know margarine, you know, like how when you have like toast and you want to
yes,
spread the butter out,
yes,
you can't
yes.
because butter's cold. But margarine, it's like,
Yeah,
wow,
you
this
can
is and a
spread it, and
little
for like
salt, pepper.
corn on the cob, little margarine, a little salt. It was a different type of thing. And it was huge, and I remember, when I was maybe a teenager, early 20s, all these health reports came out and said, just stick with butter. It's not processed. Like the margarine's all processed. The whole
I
deal
can't
with the
believe it's
margarine.
not butter. I
I
can't
can't believe
believe it's
you
not.
have to do it in your Fabio voice.
I've never seen the commercial. We used to have a guy on the Drexel soccer team named Fabio, though.
Well,
He
this
was amazing.
Fabio,
He was a really good
was
player.
like the romance novel. He looks like you. Only you're a little more handsome than the Fabio from the romance novel. He's got like the blonde. He's like, I can't believe it's not butter. He's got this whole thing he does, right? So anyway, yeah, but pretty much, right? It's like a butter substitute. So, and I remember getting, oh yeah, eat the butter, don't eat the margarine. This was like a big thing growing up. Like, oh, we're gonna have corn. What do you want? You want the butter or the margarine? I say this and I spend a couple minutes on this because there are probably people listening who are like, what in the hell is margarine? And you know what? You're gonna get a little bit of an information, a little bit of knowledge about margarine today, because in 1932, a German margarine company out of Germany, Sanella, Sanella, created a card set, and I'm calling cards loosely, right? They are larger than normal cards, about 4 and change inches on one side, so a little taller. Index cardy, but still considered cards. PSA grades them, and they are gorgeous. They are gorgeous 1932 Sanella margarine cards, and they happen to include all kinds of sports and all kinds of fun in there. But at the time, 1932, there was a dude in America who was doing things that had never been done before, named Babe Ruth. And Sanella margarine included 4 types of Babe Ruth cards. It's the same image. It's a really nice picture. Take a look at this, guys, if you can.
How do you spell Sanella?
Sanella, Sanella margarine. Just type in 1932 Sanella and it will pop up. All right. It is a gorgeous card. There are 4 types. You'll see type 1, type 2. All that deals with the same image. All that deals with is the placement of the word Sanella on the card, or whether or not there's a number on the back, but it's the same image. Beautiful colored image.
Sanella.
Yeah, 1932 Sanella, Sanella. So 2 L's. 1932 Sanella margarine Babe Ruth.
I have to be clear because it was not easy to find, but these cards are cool. Should I do a screen share?
If you want to, sure, for the folks who are doing it on YouTube, right? It is a very, very pretty card for 32. A lot of the cards back then were ugly strip cards, you name it. It wasn't until the year after that the Gaudi cards came out with color. Look at that card. Maybe with the white border, PSA graded. What grade you got there? That's an excellent Mint 6. And on the back, you can see it's German. It's written nice. It's a margarine company that put a full set of, but that's a nice centered card. It's actually a really nice copy, that excellent Mint 6. So check it out. It's Babe following through on a swing. I mean, it's a pretty, pretty card. And I also have to just take a second here. I've known about this card for a while as far as Babe Ruth cards go. It's one of the lower end, like least expensive cards, which is part of the reason I'm bringing it to you. Someone mentioned this to me in a comment. They sent me a DM months ago. I was like, hey, what do you think of the Sanella Babe Ruth? And I wrote back, I'm like, it's a little bit large. It's larger format. It's never been really appreciated. It's never really been kind of like the go-to Babe Ruth card, especially in 1930s. There's just so many other options for the card. But yeah, I mean, listen, Babe Ruth, I wrote back, Babe Ruth is Babe Ruth. It's just one of those things that, you can't really go wrong with. And I've done more research on it, and you talked about it in yesterday's episode, there was some recent Babe Ruth buying, a lot of people buying it. And this would be considered, a lower end Ruth for the reasons I just mentioned. It's larger. It's not really a card. So card purists will, consider this maybe a little large format, almost like box topper size. But this week, a PSA 3 sold for $710, right? And you're like, PSA 3, man. I don't think there are any 10s of any type. There's 8s. There may be like an 8.5, maybe like single digits of like 9s out there. But like the total pop from PSA that I looked last time for the type 1 and type 2, I think there was like 178 of one and 100 of the other. You talk about 278 total graded on PSA. Now, these are vintage cards. They're also graded by SGC, so you'll see other SGC holders in the whole deal. Probably be able to get a cheaper price, a less expensive price on those, and they're just as nice. Some people might even say this card looks nicer in one of the old SGC slabs. But I bring this to you because auctions, not a lot of people are looking for these. And if there's going to be a Babe Ruth, craze here, and people are flying to quality, as you said in those episodes, there aren't many Babe Ruth cards that are approachable in any grade that are real color. It's clearly a Babe Ruth card that's now nearly 100 years old. This is one, right? And you can grab one, for the price of a Luka PSA 10. You can grab one less than the $1,000 Tyrese Maxey that was just given to you in our play earlier in this episode. Now, obviously, that's a gold, and there's reasons why you'd spend the money on a gold because there's just none of them out there. But this is Babe Ruth. It's legit the opposite, right? He doesn't have to have expectations next year. He's met all of his expectations. He's Babe Ruth, right? So that's my play. It's sort of one of those things where it depends what you want to do with your money and I would balance out a highly speculative play with this. I went back and I looked at an auction in Mile High cards from 2011, like 10-year-old auction. And one of the higher grade ones of this card, like a PSA 8, sold for like $300, right? That's 10 years ago, right? The last one sold last year for like $2,000 and change. So it's probably like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 now with the recent run up, which means if it's $3,000 or $4,000, it's probably 10x over 10 years, which I think that's nice. It's not you're not getting 10x in a month like you're getting with crypto. But it's nice to throw that in your portfolio and know that this is something that is going to steadily grow over time,
1,000%.
slowly, and and offset the more speculative plays that you might want to make.
And you're piggybacking yesterday. We talked about Babe Ruth and Card Ladder.
Yep.
And what happens is, and I remember I went into an LCS and a guy talked to me, like I was just starting to buy cards, and I was like, which Mickey Mantle card should I buy? And he said, honestly, with Mickey Mantle, as long as you get a good condition or the best condition you can find, you can't go wrong. Because Mickey Mantle cards just appreciate slowly over time. This was the last maybe February, March. But same thing here. And right now there's a huge Babe Ruth auction, right? That's probably, remember we talked about, is there going to be a $10 million sale in 2021? Do you think that, what's the Babe Ruth on it? What's it called? The Babe Ruth PSA 9.
So it's a PSA 9, mint 9. 1933 Gaudi, number 53.
1933.
The yellow one. It's the rarest one. It's the most condition sensitive one. It's the coolest one of the four in the set. I don't own one of these in any condition. It's the one I've always chased. It's the ones when 20 years ago when this set, the Gaudi set, was the one that I was trying to build. So I was building one of these sets in low grade myself. Again, building the sets. I wound up selling everything and keeping my Gehrig and a couple of roots. To build the set, that was the one that if you found it, it was always going to be a grade or two lower than the other ones, So it is a cool card. I don't know how many of them there are in 9, if many. I mean, I guess we can look it up, right? I mean, you can look it up on your computer and throw it up there, but it's 1933 Gaudi. It's Babe Ruth. It'll be the first one that comes up, number 53, the yellow one. It might even be the card that's photographed, like pictured when you pull up 1933 Gaudi, because, it's funny, when I think of Babe Ruth cards, that's the card I think of. I don't think of the multi-million-dollar collectible offering, Baltimore News, pre-rookie. I don't think of the other ones that are out there just because you don't see them as often, right? This one you see. It's readily available. There are copies of it on eBay in low grade, just not in high grade.
There's a lot. There's actually surprisingly 92,000 cards graded from 1933.
Yeah, but that set is a 240 card set, and it's just chock full of Hall of Famers, right? So you got
one PSA.
So that's why. It is the card. It's the number one card. I mean, so you see the other ones. I think it's 144, 149, and 181 are Babe Ruths. So the 181 green, I have that one. It's considered the least valuable of them. And you see the condition, right? You can see that there are more in PSA 9. There might even be a 10. There may be 110 of the 181.
Yep, right here.
Yeah. So that one, what's funny is, I mean, I don't know. Do you want the 110 of the green border one that you showed up top, or do you want the 19 of the yellow ones is the person. If this one sets a 10 million, so that's 181. That green picture there is number 181, the one that's pictured on what you have there. Would you rather have a 9? It's a good question. I don't know which way I go. The yellow number 53 is a cooler looking card. It just is. But yeah, I might want the 10.
Well, you love tens.
But
Well,
that green card, if you check out our Instagram, you check out like Bleecker Trading. I mentioned these guys a couple times. I'm standing there with Hoodie Allen. He's holding that card, that green card. That was the one card he pulled out, and he's like, "Oh, look at this, Babe Ruth, pretty cool, right?"
But I think what happens, Cage, when you see record sales for Babe Ruth, people go to eBay and they search Babe Ruth 1933, 1934, 1932.
Yep.
And these lower end cards, which is a beautiful card. I'm surprised it's such a lower end card. They just start. It's the rubber band effect.
You know what it is? Hobby purists, the vintage collectors, they have these things that they nitpick, right? These things that they say, right? Like, all right, but buy the card, not the holder. It was a big one, right? And you know, a card is a card. This might not be a card. You know, like this is this really a card? Like this is bigger. You know, it's like an inch too tall or a half inch too tall. And there are people out there, believe it or not, who will try to put a Babe Ruth card master collection together and won't include that. I think I think jumbo stuff's cool. I see a slab, I see somebody with a tall boy, 1969, Lou Alcindor in a bigger slab, and I'm like, that's the one I like. Like that's cool. It stands out, So to me, it doesn't detract from it. It actually makes it a cooler kind of thing for me. And in the 30s, to have a color card that looks like that with a cool white border and stuff like that, that's pretty cool. There's not a lot of stuff 100 years old that looks as cool as that. So 1932 Sanella Margarine. I don't care what type it is. I don't care what grade it is. Like I said, this week on auction, a 3 sold in the $700 range. 7 and change, like 710, 711, something like that. So, look for auctions on them, make some offers. This is one that, it's just a cool one. It's a conversation piece, right? Like anybody you go to a table or a show or a hangout with your friends can pull out a Luka Prism PSA 10. But how many of your friends are going to pull out an actual 90-year-old Babe Ruth card? Well, now you can for the same price.
And it also acts as a trade bait in a lot of times. There's a card to throw in, when you're doing a trade at shows, which, Nashville, Dallas, all these shows are coming up. And just to clarify my play on Maxi, this is how I would play it. You're able to, for example, let's just use the gold that was sold for $1,000 or best offer on April 2nd. So let's say you're able to get a card like that. I would wait. I'd wait till midsummer, till PSA opens back up. You send that 5 or 20 day. You get that graded. He comes out and has a good first 5, 6, 10 games. Not only were you able to make money on the grading arbitrage, you also have an opportunity. Like people did this with Trey and Luka, right? They bought raw, graded parallels, held for a bit while they exploded, and then sold into strength. So I wouldn't even compare these plays, Cage, real quick. I wouldn't compare the plays. One's speculative, one's investing. Maxi's just a speculative play, plus you add in that buffer of grading. Two completely different strategies. Back to what we talked about yesterday. Strategy.
I like it. Can I give a third strategy on Maxi?
Sure.
Because I like your play. It's where I would go with it. I want folks to get what we're thinking. I mean, they get it from you all the time. I mean, as you're doing your Maxi play, my brain, the hamster wheel's turning. Can you do me a favor? I love having you do like a little like look up and stuff. Can you type into eBay? And guys, we're doing this as we go, right? I don't know what the price is on this, but I have a feeling it's going to be lower than you would think. Can you type in Court Kings silhouette Maxi? Court Kings silhouette.
How do you spell silhouette?
I'll just do it. Just type in Court Kings Maxi and search for the highest one. It's SILHOUTE, a whole bunch of letters. Look at them typing. So anyway, why I think this is, if memory serves me, the silhouette in Court Kings from Maxi was a redemption. And the silhouette is, I believe it's out of 25. It's an RPA. It's the Court Kings RPA. That's the beautiful, thing that's there. So obviously I'm not talking about like completeds. So I want to go to like regular ones, not Giannis.
This kind right here.
So that's just the regular Court Kings Tyrese Maxey. I'm talking about the silhouette. You'd have to actually type in like silhouette in it.
I did right here.
So does it say no? Nothing's found.
Nothing's found, and I'm spelling it right because I googled how to spell silhouette.
So So are there none available?
Let's
Wow.
see. Let's just search Court King silhouette. So give them like.
Yeah.
Is this is what you talk about, like a silhouette? I've never
No,
seen this
that's
card.
blank slate.
That's,
The card's an
is
RPA.
this
So
is a silhouette right here.
Yeah, so the silhouette, I believe, is a redemption. Does that say it on there? Silhouette?
Yep.
Yeah, Crown Royal.
Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith.
Redemption.
I think the maxi is a redemption also, right? I think it is.
Maybe people haven't gotten redemptions back yet.
But that's my play. My play is to buy the redemption because people get that out of their box. They want a LaMelo, they want an Edwards, they want a card that's right there, and they that you could buy these redemptions really, really cheap. And it is what's funny. This year's set is it's they don't put on the redemption that the silhouette is an RPA. It just says silhouette, and you have to know from Court Kings that the card is the silhouette is usually that RPA. Let me show you something. You ready?
Sure.
You see this?
Okay.
See what that says right there? 2020 Panini Crown Royale. My bad, not Court Kings. So that's why I'm an idiot.
Oh,
silhouette.
Okay.
Card number 132. I said the wrong one. It's Crown Royale.
That's okay. We're allowed to make mistakes.
I forget which one it was. So Crown Royale. So that is it. 132 Tyrese Maxey. It is a redemption. Oh,
nice.
You
know what? Here's an example of it. Right here.
So you see it? Oh, share that screen.
Okay. This is fun.
And how much is it?
I will tell you in Mexican pesos.
Nice. That's what I like. Oh, so the person already redeemed it.
Is this right?
That's it. So how much is that?
Nice little patch there. Nice, pretty terrible auto, but that's okay. $450 or best offer.
That's what they're looking for. You can go to the completed, and what I would look for, guys, in this because we're going a little crazy is I would look for
25, 329 or best offer.
I'd look for an unredeemed redemption on this because I think if you go back to that one, does it say it's out of 25?
Yep.
So this is, and just think about it, guys. So I only know this because I'm holding it up here. This is, I opened up one box of this. That was what we got. And I was mad. Ian and I were like, come on, what is this? And I sent the picture to my LCS, and I'm like, what the heck is this crap? And he's like, that's an auto. That's an RPA out of 25 of one of the better players. And I'm like, get out of here. No way. And it is. It's an auto out of 25 of one of the better players. And I had no idea because look at this redemption. Does it say autograph anywhere on it? Does it say numbered to 25? Does it say rare? Does it say anything on it? So when I'm listening to you, Tyrese Maxey, I'm like, all right, here you go, guys. Go ahead and get on eBay and see if there's somebody out there who's selling this card. It says Rookie Silhouettes, card number 132, Tyrese Maxey. And it looks like the redemption is live because I'm seeing a picture of one on there. So you grab this redemption, you put it in Panini, you'll get the card. They'll send it out to you. And for very little money, you're getting to get an RPA of this guy out of 25.
300, 232.
232, yeah.
This is out of 199 for $40. So out of 25, they're about 280.
I wonder which one mine is. Does the one out of 25 say like something different on the redemption? See, I don't even know.
It's okay, Cage. We will. Every episode is unique.
Well,
That's why we do this.
We try to explain to folks this way they don't buy the wrong one.
So this is the card number 132, Cage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
2020 Panini Crown Royale Rookie Silhouettes Prime.
Ah, there you go. So Prime is going to be out of 25. Turns out I don't have one out of 25. I have out of 199. So I have.
What's yours called?
It just says Rookie Silhouettes, not Prime. So look for Prime, guys. Prime's going to be out of 25. You can find the Prime one getting out of 25. Looks like this one's going to be out of 199, which is fine. I'll take it. I'll take it out of my box. Anyway, it's just a fun one. It's not a gold prism, but I remember pulling this and thinking I had a $5 card. And my LCS was like, no, dude, that's a good card. You know, that's an RPA. So just another fun little maxi play there to add onto yours. So there you go.
So we got Game 7, Hawks, Sixers. Let's talk a little bit about that. I thought the Hawks had that game in the bag the first half. I think they kind of let it slip away to let Seth Curry beat them. But we could talk about that. We got Nets. We got the Nets Bucks Game 7 tonight. We're in for a treat. Like this doesn't happen. And
so give me a prediction. Give me a prediction for tonight's game, and here's why. Because you've already predicted both teams winning. So I need a final I need an actual prediction right now.
Well, I'm sticking with my original prediction, which was the Bucks.
All right. Also, tell me why I should stop buying Ethereum.
There's a lot of downward selling pressure right now.
See, there you go. This guy, he's good with everything. He knows his stuff. So can I say this?
People, there's a lot. It's never one thing, right? It's a combination of factors. So just in general, summertime people invest less. That's been historical. That's been historical. But I think it's more intense this year because of what we went through with COVID. You look at people; they're having the time of their lives. It's like they've been unlocked and the cages are open. People are at the pool. People are out and about.
Yep.
So that doesn't mean that the hobby's dead or that crypto's dead. It just means for a short period of time. And guys, 3 months, 6 months, a year is a really short period of time. I think the number one thing that I've learned in my 20s is to reframe your relationship with time. And, we over assume, I think it is, what we could accomplish in a year, and we underestimate what we could accomplish in 10 years. Same thing applies to investing. Short term, the next 3-6 months, I think it's interesting to watch the market. I think people are just out and about. They're spending money on different things. They're going on vacations. They're going to Disney World. They're doing things with the family. Maybe their kids are going back to college and they need to save up because they're going to pay for an apartment again. There's all of these new expenses that over the last year, people were just sitting on their couch, investing and looking at markets. So that's all I think. Short term.
All right. So can I tell you something? I have been down on this guy forever. I never liked him. But for some reason in my brain, I think Kevin Durant comes out tonight and has one of those, put the entire franchise on your back type of games. And I don't care who's playing defense. I don't care if Giannis has all 11 of his brothers on his team playing, and they're not going to stop him. I just think this is Durant just basically willing the Nets to win tonight. I don't know why, because he obviously didn't do it in Game 6. But I just have a feeling we're going to see one of those Durant historic, 50-point, fill the stat sheet type of performances where, down the stretch, he's too much for anybody. That's what I think for tonight.
It's going to be important how they call the game. So when PJ Tucker's kind of he's a physical defender. So there's a lot of plays where he's kind of landing under Kevin Durant, and depending on the ref, they either call that a foul or not. And that's a big deal, especially in the first quarter. Right, because if you start calling those fouls where he might not hit his elbow, but he's landing underneath Kevin Durant and he's kind of body-to-body contact, that sets the tone for the rest of the game. And it's important for shooters to have space.
And you're right, by the way. In the 2 of the 3 games that Milwaukee's won, they've jumped down to ridiculous first-quarter leads. You're talking about 18-5 type of leads. And that's very hard to come back from. And the Nets have done it. They've come close to coming back in both of them. In one of them, they were winning until the end of the game. And this one at halftime, they came back closer. But yeah, it's very difficult. So you're right. I think the refs and how they call it and who gets off, to that early start, it's a huge part of it. But man, I just, I'm not a Durant. I'm not sold on Durant. You know that. But I think this is just going to be one of the games for, he surprises everybody. So we got that one. Any other games? Because I got one last commentary to leave people with.
Go ahead. I didn't watch the Clippers Jazz game. I can't stay.
So that was a beautiful game. The second half Clippers. I was just amazing. Maxey was a stud. Man was a stud. I mean, and the Jazz were up, man. But you know what I have to say about that? I have to say, go back and listen to what I've said. Right there were teams in the West that I'll believe it when they show me. I'll believe it when they give me something to believe. I'll believe it when they beat a team that has been there and done it before, right? And I talk specifically about the Suns, the Nuggets, and the Jazz, the teams that were in the top of the West. And the Suns did it.
But the Clippers have never done it either.
Well, and this is it, right? This is a big deal. But Kawhi has, and here's the funny thing. Kawhi wasn't there for the last couple games, and look, they managed to eke out a win. It's more of a thing about Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert. It's more of a thing about these young guys. The Suns, let's give Chris Paul some credit, right? I mean, that's a veteran who really, really assisted that team, really helped that team out. The Nuggets, those guys have never been there before. But maybe next year they can actually build on some playoff losses, adversity, you name it, and maybe take that next step. That's why I wasn't betting on any of them this year. Like Kawhi comes back, I'm not betting against the Clippers.
I think we need to call this the biggest upset that we've seen in the last maybe 10 years. Like I don't think media is interesting. Media picks and chooses who they beat up on. How do they not beat up on the Utah Jazz here? The Utah Jazz were the best. They were the number 1 seed, okay, all year, best record. They got to play at home. The series was tied 2-2, and the other team's best player went down. And you lose to them. You lose 2 games in a row without the other team's best player, and you're the number 1 seed. I don't know, man. That to me, I'm interested what's going to happen in the offseason, because where do they go from here?
I don't know. I mean, that team, they're a pretty good team. They really are. I mean, they might be one piece away from really being great. But that's the thing, man. It's a superstar league. And the Clippers were able to do it for a game or two without their number 1 guy. Paul George showed up in Game 6. Terrence Mann showed up in Game 7. But Kawhi is the glue there, right? I'm not betting on – if Kawhi is out for the next series, I'm not betting on that team. If Kawhi's out going forward, I'm not betting on that team. But
how fascinating is this going to be? You're going to have the Suns play the Clippers. Kawhi's out for the Clippers. Chris Paul's out for the Suns.
Well, we'll see how long they're actually out for. But yes, it's going to be very fascinating, right? It's going to be, is Devin Booker for real? Can Paul George shake the that he's a choker thing? I mean, if I were him, I'd be welcoming this opportunity to play out from under Kawhi's shadow and actually show people that he's a superstar as well. But it's a superstar league, man. And look at it. Just look. You have Kawhi's team. Yes, he's injured, right? You have Chris Paul's team with Devin Booker, a young star in the making. And you have Kevin Durant and you have Giannis. I mean, look what's left, right? You have the Final Four. You have stars. Last year it was LeBron. You know what I mean? Stars dictate this league more than anywhere else. Mike Trout's not making it to the playoffs on his own back, right? You can put Shohei Ohtani on the team that's still probably not making the playoffs, as good as the two of them are. You have 2 superstars on one team, you're making the playoffs, and you're going far. Basketball is different. My word to the wise for those people who are out there collecting everything, not just collecting sports, and I'll let you have the last word on this, it's be careful in the NFT space, guys. I've been watching this week, I have my own Top Shot stuff, and you name it. I've been watching like people from CryptoPunks to the Bored Ape Yacht Club things to dogs that were just minted to now people are jumping on something called pickles. Literally pickles. Take a look. They're pickle NFTs. And I can't really blame people because it's just been a money train from Zed Horses to CryptoPunks to Top Shot to whatever the heck else, Bored Apes, V-Friends. Everything has basically just been a license to print cash. But something tells me the folks who are buying in now, they may just get left holding their pickles. So be careful.
Like the rest of is this how pump and dump works? Like you buy the asset, right? Then you start talking about how this asset is so cool, right? So like, man, I love waking up and like checking the standings of Formula One, for example. And it's like, well, didn't you just tell people to buy Formula One cards like 3 weeks ago? So maybe you should flip those in reverse. Maybe first you should like become a fan and like learn the sport and then give the play. But it's like you buy the cards, you give the play, then you start doing these like mini shout outs like, man, I love waking up and doing this, or I love checking these standings, and then using that hype to sell into. It's interesting to watch, Cage. I don't want to blame people or judge people, but it does rub me the wrong way, especially when you see people like close to you that you, I don't know if it's admired, but like people close to you that do that. It's like, why are you doing that?
So mine is just, they always say, right? Once your dentist is investing in Uber, once your neighbor is asking you questions about, something, it's probably too late to invest in it. It's sort of the same thing, right? Once you're now minting NFT pickles, I mean, we're just creating humongous bags here for people to be left with. And I could be wrong. I'm just preaching a little bit of caution here because, it's the NFT space just seems like a significant bubble being created. it's the same people jumping from one thing to next. Their avatar changes from a Top Shot moment to a Punk, from a Punk to a Zed horse, from a Zed horse to a bored-looking ape, to a dog, to a camel, to a pickle, to a who the hell knows? I don't even know.
In 6 months.
Yeah, all in 6 months.
Like it's not like it's weird, man. It's weird. I think the only thing we can control is what we do, and Cage always says this. Like, I think that you can make money in life and have a successful life without altruistically. Maybe I'm naive. I think it's possible.
I hope so, man. We're trying. Listen, Luca Nation, we love you. Thanks for tuning in on this fun Saturday episode. We'll be back tomorrow with another one, as we always are. And, if anybody needs anything, please reach out to us. We love chatting with you all. Take care, guys.